Welcome to BitBoy Crypto, home of the BitSquad, the largest, the greatest planetary alliance and crypto community in all of the interwebs. We're around the blockchain. We come to you Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We actually perfectly on time today. It was a great episode, and we're just going to keep this rolling. We got some great guests. You know what? I wanted to do an episode with him. We got RiceTVx. Don't worry, he'll still be on Friday, but I needed some rice in my life. It's good for you, and he's good for the knowledge. He's good for the brain. He's good for the soul. And we also have
I love
Jebb.
my Yeezys, though.
Hey, what do you know? And we also have Jebb. He put out a really good Cardano price prediction video yesterday. Make sure you check that out. And he's also telling you to sell Solana. So make sure you check out his YouTube. Also, we have MacnCheeasy, little known fact, one of the top sports traders in the world. He was doing some online arbitrage when people were still pulling up their Pampers. He was in the thick of it. He's basically Robert De Niro in Casino. And we also have Ben Armstrong bringing it in. Today, he's on ATV. Tomorrow, he's an astronaut. That is right. It is the leader of the Pluto Alliance coming to take us home all the way to that ninth and elder realm, maybe to the black hole. Who knows? But we got a great show. We're going to talk about the Litecoin pump and dump, it looks like. Also, some really, really good indicators that recovery is right around the corner. We're on the cusp. It's on the horizon. And we have maybe Jebb's one of his favorite indicators, the Bitcoin Golden Cross. Just flash a pretty big signal. So we're going to talk about that. But first, let's get into the markets. We're going to get right into it. Bitcoin, it looks like it's finally starting to jump up a little bit. We're up 3% on the daily here, up 2% on Ethereum. Cardano, I guess it's just one of those buy the rumor, sell the news. They cannot get any love after Alonzo hard fork went live. I guess people were expecting 87 dApps to be available day one. Solana also continuing its drop, but it had a rapid ascent to $200. So we're not surprised to see it cooling down a little bit. If we look at some of the top gainers here, I know we're going to have some giant ones here. Let's see here. eCash curved out. Aave up 20%. SushiSwap up 20%. A lot of these people look like all right, they saw Solana. They want to check out some of these other protocols, other ecosystems. And if we look at some of the losers, Algorand, Solana, Phantom, Cosmos, Harmony, all down at least 7 to 10% there. So we have a little bit of red, but mostly green. Mostly green. It's a good day. It's one of those good days. So, Jebb, I'm looking at, it looks like we maybe are finding a little bit of support. We haven't seen, a rise about, above 0.5%, 1% in a while. What's the market telling you?
Yeah, so right now I have found in my analysis that we're in a very important point here on Bitcoin. Bitcoin has strong support around $44,500 to $44,700. There's a zone of support right there that Bitcoin absolutely needs to hold above. And there's some very important resistance sitting right around $47,300. We did all that analysis over on my channel. I don't want to go into a ton of detail and waste your time. The point here is Bitcoin right now is in an important decision point. Why? Because it has a lot of bearish technicals and also has a lot of bullish technicals. And if we start breaking below that support at $44,700, or if we start breaking above that resistance at $47,300, in my opinion, we're probably going to start seeing the dominoes fall in one of two directions, either bullish if we break the resistance or bearish if we break the support. So which one's going to happen? I personally think that we're going to have a recovery on Bitcoin for the reasons we're going to talk about in a second. For example, the Golden Cross is one of them. There's also something called bullish RSI divergence going on the chart, which basically is just another indicator, or in this case, a chart formation saying we're going to move to the upside. There's some other candlestick analysis that I can go into, but in general, I'm pretty bullish on Bitcoin right now, and I really think the rest of the cryptocurrency market is waiting to find out what is Bitcoin going to do, because I think Cardano, Ethereum, Solana, and many of these other big projects are going to follow in its footsteps.
Yeah, I like that, and we'll see. So you're saying, we won't see like a Bollinger Band type situation where we just trade sideways at 42 to 44. If we break below that, might be heading down. If we get above this crucial supportive resistance, boom, we're going to pop above that. So if you like what the people are saying, make sure you hit +1 in the chat. And real quick, today's episode brought to you by Pluto Alliance. That's right, dropping 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And let's give a shout out to Moses Family Jerky. The spice sticks were gone like that. They're gone lickety-split. But let's go into our first topic here, the Litecoin pump and dump. We all saw the news yesterday. I'll be honest, the second I saw it, I just said, that's fake. There's no way that's real. Yep. I saw it all over Twitter. I saw it like 3 or 4 times and like within, 10 tweets, and just immediately thought, that's fake. There's no way that's real. So yeah, it surged about 25%. Litecoin surged 25% after the fake news release. is Walmart was saying they would begin accepting Litecoin for online purchases. Many actually did assume it's real. They did like a little bit of work. They had a pretty legit looking website saying they like just changed a couple words from like corporate and Walmart and like flipped it to like walmartcorporate.com. So they had a fake news release. They had some fake quotes. They had official Litecoin Twitter actually tweeted out, like retweeted it out. Fake press release, the CEO, fake Charlie Lee quote. So, I mean, they did their due diligence. They even had Litecoin retweet it. MacnCheeasy, what were your first thoughts when you saw it? You're all over on social media. What do you think?
So you had mentioned it on the open. I'm a gambler myself. There's these things that are happening. And I watched Boiler Room over the weekend, and there's a scene where they're all on the floor, and somebody's like, "Oh, it just dropped up 3%," and then they're just yelling in the phone, and they're pumping and dumping this thing. And when I was getting texts from all the Litecoin army to my phone, they're like, "Oh, you see what happened with Litecoin?" I scroll on TikTok, they're like, the Litecoin army is all of a sudden coming out about this huge news, and I'm just sitting there like, this can't possibly be correct. And then I look at the price, and it shoots up to like $230 in seconds. And then what happens? People clearly realize that there's a bunch of fugazi things going on in this actual article, and then the price drops down to exactly where it was traded before. And when I see this, I just think, for one, why would Walmart decide to go with Litecoin? Frankly, Litecoin specifically, they've had a couple of narratives that they've really tried to iron out in the crypto space. They opened up as the silver to Bitcoin being gold. Then they tried kind of rebranding to being the armor of Bitcoin. And now they're looking to get into smart contracts. I'm not exactly sure what Litecoin's trying to be and what type of message they're having. And just the whole space around Litecoin, Charlie Lee himself, this is a funny little story, but in 2017, he tweeted that to all of the holders, hold on for deal life, hodl, 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 hodl. This was on December 8th, 2017. Then earlier this year, he tweeted, I've only sold Litecoin 3 times. And one of those days was December 8th, 2017, when he also told the holders to hold on for dear life. Absolutely ridiculous that this is coming from the central figure of Litecoin. So there's some shady things that have happened in Litecoin previously, and I just couldn't take this image of Boiler Room, just people texted me like, oh, pump it, pump it, pump it. And then I even told people, I was like, can you short Litecoin? Because if you can, short it this second. And if you follow that, then you made out pretty well.
Boiler Room is an old stock trading movie, early Vin Diesel. We had a couple super chats real quick. Sol has paused transactions, price crashing coming. We saw that I mean, they seem to be pretty transparent about everything. We'll see what the price does. I'm kind of waiting for more news to break and probably discuss it tomorrow. And the Biscuit Jesus, that's right, BJ himself saying, dude, where's my car? Well, he's in Vegas right now. If you drove to the airport, I don't know. It might not be at the airport anymore, but that's just my 2 cents. Ben, real quick, I wanted to give you, I actually wanted to hear your opinion. What were your thoughts when you first saw that? Walmart's accepting Litecoin. What first went through your head? Nope, looks like maybe muted.
Nothing went through his head, apparently.
Nothing went through my head. Well, it didn't sound right when I heard it, but you know, there was supposedly an official press release. Everyone was talking about it. So, I mean, I believed it was true at first, you know. But the really interesting thing about this is that, you know, Walmart's pissed about this because it's not just Litecoin that should be pissed. Walmart's pissed too because, you know, this is supposedly the place that reported this is supposedly a pretty reputable news source. And so they're like, how in the world did we put out some, or how in the world did someone put out something that's fake, that's not connected to our real website, that got pushed out as official news, and it makes Walmart, you know, kind of look like, you know, bad, look like they're involved in pump and dump, whatever. But look, like the thing is it wasn't like it was, you know, a coin that was ranked 148th. I mean, Litecoin's been the most consistent altcoin in history. Going back even further than Ethereum, it's consistently been in the top 10. It's fallen out a little bit this year, but I'm not convinced that it won't go back up in there because every time before it's fallen out, it's gone right back up. So there is an element of confidence that a lot of bigger companies and bigger projects have in Litecoin. Venmo and PayPal, guess what? They included Litecoin. They included all the original Coinbase coins, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, and Litecoin. Those were the original 4 Coinbase coins, not necessarily in that order. Bitcoin, then Ethereum, then Litecoin, then Bitcoin Cash. But the interesting thing is that even in 2021 and 2020, we're still seeing a lot of companies, a lot of big, serious payment companies putting Litecoin in that rare air in the top coins, even though it performance-wise, it hasn't been lately. So I think that is what added a little bit of believability to the story. But, you just can't really believe anything you read these days.
No, you bring up a good point. It does kind of have this air of authenticity, and, Grayscale, one of the largest Bitcoin investors in the entire globe, also invests in Litecoin. So, yeah, it does kind of have a safe reputation with the newer traders, but people have been around forever and see actual crypto adoption might have a big disagreement there. Now, Rice, if Walmart were to accept a cryptocurrency and say they were only to accept one today, what crypto do you think it would be?
Oh, wow. I mean, the obvious choice would be Bitcoin, but the transaction fees would be an issue. But as far as everything that was said so far regarding this topic, I want to, I agree with what Ben said in regards to Litecoin being the most consistent altcoin. It's not so exciting, but it works, and it's been working, and it's had a lot of success in doing so. They're about to celebrate the 10-year anniversary. Also, I'm not sure when MacnCheeasy got in crypto, but the tweet that you may be talking about was a few months prior to December of 2017, because it was in 2017 of December that Charlie Lee actually tweeted selling that he sold his Litecoin and was basically telling everybody else, in a sense, to do the same thing. He was doing what was ethical in that sense. So whether or not we agree or disagree, Bitcoin or Litecoin has become kind of a test net for Bitcoin, which I think is a good thing, especially a lot of these implementations that they're adding. This Omni is a layer that's used for Tether on Bitcoin. So they're adding that to Litecoin. That's going to allow for creation of tokens, smart contracts, potentially NFTs. They've been talking about Mimblewimble. It's looking like early 2022 that it's going to come out. And we need fungibility in this, because I've talked a lot about coins being marked or tainted because of past use. And you may be holding on to some cryptocurrency that was involved in some nefarious purpose, but you're going to be the one held accountable for having the coin because you're in possession of it. So the fungibility is an important factor when it comes to cryptocurrency, and it's something that has been trying to be solved for quite some time. Now, as far as this press release is concerned, I mean, obviously we need to be contacting and talking to this Globe News Wire, who's a reputable PR company. They're the ones who know who paid for this to get done. It was completely irresponsible on the end of a Litecoin member with a verified Litecoin Twitter account to make this tweet. And it's a great example of why people should be doing their own research. We should be fact checking everything. I mean, it doesn't sound completely out of the ordinary that this could happen. Now, why they would choose Litecoin as specifically the one coin, that doesn't make a lot of sense. But again, they've done such a great job with this press release. They were able to fool not only the Litecoin people, but a whole lot of other people, because this press release got released by a lot of individuals. So there was a lot of irresponsibility done just by accepting the fact that some PR company releases this, that it's going to be factual without fact checking it before you end up putting this to print. So there's a lot of people that should be held accountable, and they're irresponsible in this. But ultimately, I really feel like Litecoin did the appropriate thing and handled this the right way. And when Charlie Lee went on Bloomberg, I thought he handled it very effectively. And I know Charlie, and I think he's good people, and I don't think he's a dishonest individual, and I don't put this on Litecoin or the foundation at all.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. It's not a failure for crypto. It's not a failure for Litecoin. It's not even a failure for Walmart. It's a failure for our traditional media. You know, we had multiple television stations run with it. I think it was on like Yahoo News, CNBC, like all these people, they just ran with it and they just assumed it was real. And yeah, it's not a failure on crypto. Scammers going to scam, but the media definitely let us down. So that's why you watch BitBoy Crypto. We bring you the real news. One just last question on this topic before we move on. Now, Jebb, it seems to be like a little bit of a level of sophistication here. You know, they had registered domains, you know, like a month prior to all this. Is definitely coordinated, definitely strategic. What was the level of sophistication, do you think? Was this just a couple neckbeards in the basement, or is this, you know, like a criminal syndicate or someone getting paid by a mining org? What do you think happened here?
I have no idea. One of the things I've learned in the last 4 years I've been in crypto is never underestimate a couple of neckbeards in a basement. They can do a lot of damage or a lot of good. So don't want to underestimate that. It very well may have been that. To be honest with you, this looks like something that was a lot bigger than that. I would be surprised if just 2 guys were managing to pull this off. This was a job that took a lot of cooperation between whoever was running it, who hopefully will be found out and they'll be brought to justice in some capacity. I highly doubt that'll happen, but it'd be nice. Like Rice was saying, there needs to be some level of accountability here. This was a very complex ordeal. It's very difficult to get a cryptocurrency that's already worth whatever Litecoin's market cap is. I want to say it's like $40 billion. It's very difficult to get a cryptocurrency that valuable. It's worth Litecoin is sitting at $12 billion, excuse me. It's sitting at $12 billion. It's not easy to find $4 billion worth of liquidity to move into a cryptocurrency like Litecoin, get to move that much. And the reason I think that this was a bigger deal than just some tiny little altcoin pump and dump is because of the target. It's very interesting that Litecoin was chosen as the target for a pump and dump. We see pump and dumps happen all the time in the altcoin space, but what we don't see happen very often are pump and dumps in the top 10 or in the top 15. I think Litecoin's sitting at number 15 right now. You don't see that happen very often. Why choose Litecoin? Why not choose a smaller cap cryptocurrency? 2 reasons. I think number one, it was more believable than saying some 200-something altcoin was being adopted by Walmart. I think it was just believable enough, and they also were able to pull it off because of whatever connections these people had to make it seem like it was legitimate. But also, I think this was a big enough deal, and Litecoin specifically was targeted because when you do a smaller cap altcoin pump and dump, the lower the market capitalization and the lower the liquidity in the order books, the less money you can make off the pump and dump. If you're pumping and dumping something that at the peak here would have had, what, $16 billion in market cap, you have a lot more sell orders that you can run through. Or excuse me, yeah, you have a lot more buy orders that you can fill by selling whatever Litecoin you held before the pump and dump. I think they targeted a large cryptocurrency so they can make more money off the pump and dump. And hopefully we'll be able to track that down and figure out who did it.
And they can leverage it as well. They could be doing a lot. I mean, there is a lot of leverage available for Litecoin where there's not available for other coins. So they could have been shorting this in addition. You know, they could have been playing this in both angles.
Yeah, that's what me and Justin were saying. It's probably leverage trading to fully maximize the pump and the dump.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. But it's
yeah. Let's go to our next topic here. We're starting to run out of time. I mean, Litecoin, it is what it is. But you know, at the end of the day, again, the blame is on the media. I mean, not Litecoin. Absolutely. I mean, not Charlie, not Walmart for sure. But recovery is on the horizon. We're speaking specifically about Bitcoin. We got 3 really, really bullish signals. We're going to try to talk about all 3 of them here before we go to our last topic. But Bitcoin has just, all right, so this is breaking. This is breaking. Our funding rates have just gone positive. Now, funding rates is for leverage traders. It means there's more people feeling a little bit bullish versus bearish. Now, Ben Armstrong, just for the newer viewer who might not even know what leverage trading means, what about, like, could you just give a little refresher on funding rates and why those are being positive is a good thing for crypto?
Yeah, so I'm going to go to somebody else because, to be honest with you, I would have a real hard time explaining funding rates.
All right, who leverage trades but more between Mac and Rice? I know, Jebb, you don't.
I'm not really a leverage trader at all.
All right, it's on you, Mac.
Okay, so basically what funding rates are, the TLDR is a positive funding rate means that it costs money to have a long position open. So let's say you open, not that you would ever do this, but let's say you were to have like a 5x leverage position in a exchange. You're effectively borrowing money to get this position open. So a positive funding rate means that it costs money to actually borrow this money. So as you have this position open, it's slowly chipping into your existing position because it costs money to have this exposure. So if, let's say Bitcoin stays flat and you have a 2% funding rate, over time, you're going to lose money because it costs money to have this long exposure and have this leverage. Now, when it goes negative, it's actually the opposite. If you have this exposure, let's say you have a 5x long or a 2x long, you actually make money over time for taking out this additional exposure. So let's say Bitcoin were to stay flat and the funding rate is negative, you'll actually make money there. So why is the funding rate being positive actually bullish? Well, that means that across the leverage trading, across the traders in crypto as a whole, it means that people want to enter long positions and they're willing to pay a premium for this actual position. When it's a negative funding rate, that's like people saying, I want to lower my exposure. I don't want to have all of this leverage because I don't know where Bitcoin, I don't know where crypto is going to go. That's basically why funding rates, having this positive, it's a great sign because it's like, okay, the market might start going up here.
All right, yeah, great breakdown. Let's go right into the second thing. This one, a little bit less obvious. Old coins aren't being spent. Now we're talking about old Bitcoin is not being spent. Now, Rice, why would it matter, versus the selling pressure of newer coins versus older coins? Why would that have any kind of factor at all?
The only thing that I can really think of is that it just shows faith in the hodlers and the people who've had these bags for quite some time. Because obviously, the older the crypto, the longer you've been in possession of that particular SID Bitcoin, whenever it was produced in its block. I'm not really that technical of a person when it comes to cryptocurrency and trading and things like that. So it kind of stumped me when I heard it. But that was the first thing that I thought about when it was just that this has to be some sort of indicator of people who possess the cryptocurrencies who have done so for quite some time, people who we would call the OGs, the whales. I mean, someone could get lucky and I guess get those kind of coins, but it just to me is an indicator of people holding on to what they have and not selling, and the pressure not being there, and having faith in the future of Bitcoin, both in the short and long term.
Well, you explained it well. It's the OGs. They've been through bull and bear markets. They're not going to, who's going to be more likely to panic sell? Someone who's had Bitcoin for 2 weeks or someone who's had Bitcoin for 8 years. It's just going to be a big difference there. So yeah, it's very bullish. And oftentimes, if you got Bitcoin that's 8 years old, you probably got more than $1,000 worth. You might have a couple commas, as they say. All right. So the last thing, we're going to go right into it here. The long-term holders are actually starting to accumulate. We have a graphic here. I pulled it up on my screen where we're showing the long-term supply. So right now we're skyrocketing. The long-term holders are holding on. They're not selling. We haven't seen levels like this since September of 2020. We all know what happened at the tail end of 2020 and the beginning part of 2021. Bitcoin just went on an absolute price run here. So we're starting to see something a little bit similar. The long-term holders, they're holding on. They're not letting go. Ben, moving forward, do you think as Bitcoin, its market cap grows, the user base grows, countries are adopting, are we going to see more long-term holders or less long-term holders, do you think?
That's a good question. I tend to believe that we will see less because at some point over this bear market, I think a lot of people will cash out. You see it goes kind of in waves and troughs there. But I mean, I guess looking at that chart, I mean, that would actually, the chart says the opposite of what I'm saying. I mean, if you look, it's clearly an uptrend. I mean, we're constantly setting a new high. So I guess you're adding more people to believe in Bitcoin for the long term. We advocate selling the tops here on this channel. I had somebody ask me today, like, what does hodling actually mean? Does it mean I never sell? And I'm like, well, your long-term hodlers are certainly people who buy, set, forget. They don't care about the market cycle. They just watch it go up over time, like Jebb. I see him pointing to himself over there. Okay. Jebb's a long-term hodler. I'm a hodler in the short term, but it's kind of like this. If you time the market right, if you accumulate at the bottom of the bear market and you sell at the top of the bear market, you can significantly compound your gains. And you only have to judge the market twice every 4 years. It's not a lot to do. And I've been able to, incredibly compound my gains by trying to do that and time that market. So for me, my whole thing is when we get to the top, my number is about 80%. We'll sell about 80% of our crypto. Not because we're selling out of crypto, not because we're like, yeah, we really want to go in cash and now we want to, go start a pawn shop. It's because we can compound our accumulation, just simple math, just so everybody understands here exactly. Okay, let's say you bought Bitcoin when it was $10,000. You bought one Bitcoin at $10,000. The price goes up to $100,000. Let's say that's the top, and you sell. Now you have $100,000. Now the price of Bitcoin drops 85%. Let's just say it drops. Let's just say it drops 80% for math's sake. So it drops all the way down to $20,000. Now you bring that $100,000 back in. Now you basically turned $10,000 into 5 Bitcoin. And it's not trading every day. It's not looking at the market and every time there's a pump selling. It's just trying to sell the top. And so, for me, I think that's the smartest move. Especially like, look, if you're already rich, if you have $500 million, then just set it and forget it. But most people are not in that situation.
Yeah, and I'll say this: it's not just because you signed my paychecks. I saw when you sold. You sold. Near the top, you sold some altcoins. You were attacked for it. Crypto Twitter, everybody attacked on you. But then you turned that into more Bitcoin. You bought the dip. Yeah, where was the praise? All the people are coming out of the shadows saying, "Oh, how dare he sell?" But then when you're, like you said, you're just trying to accumulate more Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So, you're just trying to grab more Bitcoin. I think it's a sound strategy. It's not something we need to work a little bit better and not vilify people for, trying to swim with the whales. Or, we're all just going to get eaten up at like minnows. So, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. So let's get to our last topic here. I just wanted to say that. Just dovetail that at the end.
Thank you.
Me $50.
Thank
$50
you
for saying that. All right, thank you. All right, cool.
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to talk about our third topic here, and we're probably going to just go to Jebb first here because you're our TA guy. Breaking news. This just happened not that long ago. We have confirmed a new golden cross. Now, the golden cross is when the 50-day moving average eclipses the 200-day moving average. Now, Jebb, you're our guy. You're our TA guy.
I am.
We got some TA people. You're one of our TA guys. Is this something
that
that when you heard this and you saw this, what went through your mind?
Yeah, so I've been watching this for the last, I'm always watching it. I'm always watching the moving averages. The 50 and the 200 are two of the most important moving averages on the entire on the entire chart of Bitcoin. The 50 moving average gives us a strong level of support that helps to maintain us in average and normal uptrends. For example, we saw support on it. I know you can't see my chart, but we saw support on it on the 11th of December, the 27th of January this year, the 1st of March this year. And the 200 generally provides a good idea of whether we're in a bull market or a bear market. When you're below the 200, you're generally in a bear market. When you're above it, you're generally in a bull market. And when these two cross, you get something either called a golden cross or a death cross. A golden cross is when you see the 50 cross above the 200. A death cross is the opposite. You already know that. But really quickly, I'm just going to go ahead and read off to you the last couple of dates that we've seen golden crosses form, because I personally don't think death crosses are that useful. As we've talked about earlier on in the show, they are very lagging indicators. Typically, both of these kinds of crosses will show up sometimes even months after the movement that you're looking for. They're not necessarily indicators that are going to predict anything, but I would argue that they are confirmation in a big way, and I think golden crosses are much more valid. So here are the last couple of dates. May the 20th, 2020. At that time, we were trading at $8,000. Everybody knows what happens at the end of last year. We went from $8,000 to $65,000 in the span of 12 months. Definitely was a great golden cross to listen to. On the 20th of April, 2019, Bitcoin was trading at $5,400. In the next 90 days, Bitcoin would go to $13,000. Before that, this is only 4 golden crosses ago, guys. We're already back to 2015. It's the 7th of November, and it called the entire 2016-17 bull market. So I don't think death crosses are that valid. I don't think they're something we should really listen to for reasons I'll spare you the time on. Golden crosses, however, actually are a very big deal. And they, generally speaking, are going to lead to at least a year of uptrending momentum. It's very rare that you see a golden cross and you don't see 12 months or more of upwards momentum. It does happen. We saw it happen in 2019, but the golden cross that we're witnessing right now is one of the reasons why I'm very bullish on the long-term perspective on Bitcoin. Now, with that said, it's not the only bullish technical indicator. It is just one of them, and we want to make sure we have a holistic point of view on everything, but it is a very bullish factor, and it's definitely something that you guys should be aware of. It's a good reason to be buying long-term.
Yeah, when you just gave those examples, I'm actually I'm feeling a lot more bullish than I was just 2 minutes ago. For
it's a big deal.
Well, that's a big difference. Especially the 5,000 to 13,000. You're looking at about a 250% gain there. So yeah, that's maybe 100,000.
Only needed 2 minutes to change your life.
It was 163% in 64 days. Boom sauce.
Look, You got a blue background, but I'm feeling anything but sad right now after hearing that. That's for sure. All right, now Rice, as someone who doesn't really do TA, you hear all these technical analysts they're freaking out about this cross and this pattern and this moving average, and you hear all these things, and all of a sudden everyone's saying this is a bullish indicator, and we're all I don't want to say we're parroting the line, but we look at the examples and we see, well, it's only happened a few times. Here's what happened after those times. What do you, as someone who doesn't really do TA, when you hear these things like, oh, it's only happened 5 times and every time it's done this, do you put any stock into it, or is it just extra noise and you just kind of ignore it all?
I mean, I do put stock into it. I mean, and generally, I would say that a golden cross is a bullish indicator, but not every single time has it been bullish and indicating what it's supposed to indicate. So it's not 100% per se, but it is a good indicator. But I mean, I would like to think that we already know that we are already in a bull market that is, we've got a few months left in, basically, unless we are looking at potentially going into a super cycle, which obviously time will tell when it comes to something like that. But it is an indicator, I mean, for one, Jebb did a great job of explaining it. I mean, it's just basically when your short-term moving average crosses above your longer-term moving average. And basically, in most situations, that is completely a bullish signal. Being that we're in a bull market, I think that it makes it even more bullish. And then when you go back to when we were talking about the signs of the market recovery and long-term holders, it kind of reminds me of the precious metals market, because there's a disconnect from the physical silver and gold versus the paper contracts that are determining the price. So basically, I feel like in that sense, the people who are holding their crypto and accumulating see that this is undervalued, and we know that we're hitting higher price targets. So it would be absolutely asinine for people to be selling at this point at those levels when they're foreseeing that we're going to be hitting the 100K levels or higher. So it's going to be an interesting time to watch. It is definitely, in this sense, I say it is a bullish indicator, but I don't want everybody to think that every time you hear this, that a golden cross happens, that it's just going to be just awesome and everything's just going to be moon Lambos and everything's going to be good.
Well, it's supposed to be moon Lambos and everything good. I mean, that's what I've been told. That's what Twitter's telling me. I'm just letting you know.
People just need to be smart, ground themselves.
Well, a couple things real quick. If you're wondering the points, our internet went down on our points computer, so it's a whole team. There's like 87 people here behind the scenes. And New Titan had a $49.99 super chat with no message. I think the message was supposed to say go to PlutoAlliance.com. Drops at 2 a.m. I'm pretty sure that's what they were going to go with on that one. That's just my guess there. Ben, I'm gonna end it with you here. Now, Jebb kind of gave the breakdown. The death cross isn't quite as important as the golden cross. Would you give more weight to the golden cross just because it's more bullish, or how do you separate getting all data equal weight when it's good or bad news? How do you, what's the process you go through your mind to kind of sift through the noise and just, see the straight and narrow?
Was that a fat joke?
Not at all. No,
Okay.
no.
Look,
you've been hanging around aliens. Look, no one looks like that. All right, maybe like Elon 5 years ago, but yeah.
Jabba,
aliens.
Shout out to Jabba.
Yeah, I mean, that's real beauty right there. I mean, that's natural. You don't see enough Jabba the Hutts on magazine covers. You're seeing too many, thin aliens.
I don't know what you're living in.
George Lucas is sizest.
I'm living on Pluto. Okay, it's a planet too, by the way. Look, here's the thing. I did a video crushing these death crosses. These death crosses, they don't mean anything. They are as bad of an indicator as you can really get. They're about at best, they're about 50%. So you might as well not even have them, right? If it's 50%, it could go up or it could go down, exactly as I predicted. So you guys understand that. You guys understand if it's 50%, there's no reason to have it. But these golden crosses, they do generally create higher upward momentum. Now, I'm going to tell you why I think Jebb's wrong. as always. You guys know I love. There's nothing I like better than saying Jebb is wrong on this channel. I don't know why, but
I enjoy
the thing.
saying you're wrong.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a video called "Why I Disagree with CryptoJebb." That's what I'm gonna do.
Hey, that's our most viewed video now. It's great.
Yeah, that would be my least viewed video on my channel, Jebb.
We probably did all your viewership and it worked well for us.
That was a good one.
Let's go.
Gloves are coming off.
Here's the thing. I will say this, like, why I think that is, why I think the death cross is not very important, but the golden cross is, would be just because when we see crashes, we see them happen quicker than the charts can adjust. The crashes happen much quicker than the pumps. If you look, you know, how many times have over this last bull run have we looked and, you know, Bitcoin dropped $5,000 or $6,000 in a few minutes? How many times has it pumped up that much in a few minutes? Very few. It has. It certainly has. It went from 29K to 40K. You know, we saw Bitcoin go from 33 to 42K. We saw the Tesla pump where it went from, you know, I think 33 to 50 in just a few days. So we have seen them, but generally, I think that's why the lagging indicator for the crashes seems to not work as well. It's more of like an identifier, like a stamp, like, yep, crash happened. That's what the death cross is. But the golden cross, these moves build up a little slower and they get ready to move parabolic. And I think that you can get the indicator to flash before you have the massive pump. Why I want to say Jebb is wrong is I generally Jebb would be correct on what he said about how, you know, there would be a 1 year, you know, minimum on the action after a golden cross. But, you know, a lot of people have pointed this out before. We've not been through a true economic crash since Bitcoin began. Okay. We've not been through a recession. We had the pandemic crash for a day, right? And then it popped right back up and things within a month, we're back to normal as far as economically outside of airlines and hotels and stuff like that. You know, we had the 2008 financial crisis, which is what Bitcoin was birthed out of. But I think at the end of this year, we are seeing the stock market crash. I can't really say the housing market necessarily, but I think it will be affected. I may have said the housing market before. I do believe it'll crash. I'm not as confident it will crash as the stock market by the end of the year. We're going to see recession. We're going to see job pullback. We're going to see the quantitative easing in. The pandemic handouts are over. That is going to lead to a compound effect on this market that I think we're going to see extremely fast parabolic upwards movement for Bitcoin, but it's going to be very fast. And I think once this recession hits, which we haven't dealt with before in crypto, I believe that that is going to end all the bullish action for Bitcoin. I don't see 12 months of upward momentum here.
All right. I love it. I love it. So we might have a bearish winter, but right now it's autumn awesomeness. I mean, we got old coins not being spent. We got long-term holders that are accumulating. We got the golden cross. We got positive funding rates. If you like what you're hearing, if you feel a little more bullish, go ahead and hit that like button. We definitely want to get this out to as many people as possible. Now, the points broke down in the middle. Now, it's a toss between Rice and Jebb. I think I got to go with Jebb just because he got attacked.
I would give it to Jebb just because, I mean, or even Cheesy. I mean, they both did a great job. I just like saying Cheesy. Since I'm Rice and Cheesy.
Yeah. Before we give it to my mortal enemy, CryptoJebb, I would like to say that MacnCheeasy, you were on TikTok last night live, like actually for TikTok doing a Crypto 101 thing. Dude, shout out to you. That was big, man. I love seeing you get your spotlight there.
Appreciate
Congrats.
that. Yeah, that was fun. A little side note on TikTok. I know there's a lot of there's a misconception in terms of TikTok creators that they're all pumping and dumping. They're all shilling coins. I think there's a lot of valuable information on crypto, and it was fun to be able to be part of changing this actual narrative that all crypto TikTokers just like to shill products and like to just try and pump and dump things. It's a great avenue and it's a great form of media to get new investors into the crypto space. So I was excited for that, and I appreciate, you know, the support.
No, it was great. And since we're talking about shillers and pumpers and dumpers, let's cut to Jebb and give him his last parting thought, because he speaks out against them. Okay. Because he speaks out against them. I didn't finish my sentence there. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, Jebb. Go ahead and give us some parting thoughts. You're gonna be our winner today, man. It's up to you.
Guys, if you enjoyed this stream, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to BitBoy Crypto. They got a great channel here, even if their host is I'm not going to say it. Make sure to also subscribe to all the other people here on the channel if you haven't already. Make sure to go and check out all those links down below. And remember, the best investment you will ever make is an investment in yourself. Make sure to keep learning. Make sure to keep perusing through all the crap, because people are going to try and convince you to invest in things like the BitBoy Crypto subscribe button. You should totally subscribe to Jebb. I'm sorry, I got to go.
Oh, and that's all we got time for today.
Where's my
Pluto
baseball bat?
Alliance, 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the rest of the people tomorrow. That's all we got time for today, BitSquad. Easy out. Pluto's a planet.